is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 258. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him... Sitting here on a Monday, beautiful, victorious Austin, Texas, still the site of the 2025 U.S. Open Cup Championship game on October 1st, coming off another late victory in stoppage time. Who else? CJ Fodrey, the hero again. Mirtu Azuni also getting in on the action, the one that actually scored the goal. Getting ahead of myself here, man. How you feeling?
Stunned, man. What a week it has been. Just recounting it right there with you before we jumped on here, driving home from Dallas on Sunday and feeling the way that we did, just wanting to die, essentially.
Also, I was listening to the Steelers do some of the dumbest shit ever.
Oh, shit, that's right. Yeah. It's just miserable to Wednesday to now this. And holy shit, man, just stunned. This team keeps finding ways to get the job done. And they've been really focused, really competitive. I mean, both these teams that we have played these last two games are better than us. They are deeper. They are more talented teams, and you found ways to beat both of them. And that is incredibly impressive. So excited to get into this one.
Yeah, man. You know, it's of course, it's not always the most talented teams that come out on top in a single game, in a single season, right? Certainly a playoff series. We've seen Miami go out in the first round last year, one seed St. Louis 2 years ago. So, look, man, I think this team has proven over the last week that they can compete with essentially anybody here in this league. Obviously, a long ways to go on the MLS side of things, but that's I guess we shouldn't be that surprised because that's why this team is in the Open Cup final. Yeah. And I think we were lucky that we didn't have to jump into Open Cup play until May because the team, again, like not that we were consistent in May, but clearly these guys have gelled more together as the season has gone on. And I think you've kind of seen that in the performances, whether it's Open Cup, whether it's in the league, right? And there's obviously multiple factors, but it's really hard to be an Austin FC fan today and not be feeling really great about where we're sitting, with about a month left in the regular season.
Absolutely. And I mean, even if we did drop that game, like we were saying last night, nobody can say anything mean to us until Open Cup.
Yeah.
Until
then, negativity.
No negativity. We will not accept any of it.
Yeah. Shut up. We're in a final.
We're in it.
We will recap last night's magical victory at the Q. We've, of course, got some last business day. We're going to check in on the best keeper in the world and clean it up with the nonsense at the end. But before we get into all of that here on episode 258 of the North End Podcast, your normal reminder, whether you're watching us on the YouTube or listening on the audio version, just a reminder, you can support us financially by just downloading the audio version of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. So you go to Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening to those pods, toggle on auto downloads for the North End. You can support us going forward, and then you don't have to think about it again. If you want to go the extra mile, rate and review the show wherever you get your podcast. And if you are watching on the YouTube channel, hitting that subscribe button does help us grow the show. And you can hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, here on episode 258, hit the thumbs up, like the video. Help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords. Atone for your sins. Wash yourselves clean in the confetti of the North End, as our boys did last night. So coming into Sunday Night Soccer, hosting the Seattle Sounders, I think the only thing that really occurred in the Austin FC universe, outside of like getting into last business day and such, was the tickets going on sale for the Open Cup final. And I expected the tickets to go fast, but, there was still a little bit of doubt in there just because, you look at the two semifinal matches that just took place last week and both crowds were fairly sparse. But I think, again, as we thought, this fan base is extremely hungry for a taste of the glory, as we like to joke about. those tickets went fast, whether you were in either of the pre-sales, whether you were going through one of the supporters groups links there and the allotments that they have. And you see the prices on SeatGeek and elsewhere right now. That price floor is well above where you can normally get into these regular season matches for like $25, right?
Yeah.
Close to kickoff.
Yep.
I think these prices come down closer to the first, but I guess I say all of that to say this. I've been so hopeful since Wednesday night that this is going to be a sellout. This is going to be a return to the 2022 vibes that we had, where even in regular season matches, dude, like we said a couple episodes ago, almost the entire lower bowl standing the full 90.
Yeah.
I think that is the type of energy we're going to see on the first. That's certainly what I'm going to be trying to do, because it's just different, man. It's win or go home, winner take all in that cup final.
It's on the line, bro. Like you said there, I think there is a really big push for people being excited about this championship game in the community right now. I think you're getting a lot of the people back who kind of jumped ship, right or wrong, a little while ago when this team was just been struggling and just in the mud and not a whole lot to cheer for like 2 seasons consecutively. But it is 2022 vibes for me that I think we're going to be returning to. And those were some glorious, glorious vibes. So hope everyone can afford tickets. If you're trying to get in there, good luck trying to find some. I know that we're still on the horn asking, seeing if we can get anything extra to bring some homies with us just so they can experience it as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a party.
Yep. And so obviously we will preview that match this time next week. But back to last night, because reliving this one today on the rewatch and then again now, I might even go rewatch this game later tonight after we finish. I don't know, man, but this was a fun one. I will at first, right? Sometimes we do some shout outs here at the top. Shout out to Ozzy, man, who does the work with We Are Austin TV, right? I had told him that I knew Chris Tierpak, who played for the Austin Aztecs. He had some trading cards of the Aztecs. So not only does Ozzy meet up with us after the game last night to give me the Chris Tierpak card, so shout out my buddy. I mean, this is like a whole set, 7 or 8 players. There's a Kekuta Mane, right? Yeah. So you've got an Aztecs and Austin FC alum there. Kyrie Shelton, right? Who's a Round Rock kid, still plays for Sporting KC. These are awesome. Thank you, Ozzy.
Those are sick. Those are really cool. And you showed me those last night. I was like, damn. And also just like those jerseys and everything. What a throwback for those cards. I also got a shout out. Hugo, good to meet you last night, dude.
Nice.
Yes, bro. So he comes up to me and he goes, hey, I was going to say hi to you at the halftime of the El Paso game, but I saw you walking up the stairs. And I was like, I should not say hi to him right now. So I was like, you know what? Good call. I'm in a way better mood right now, although that did not last very long, but he was there for the high that I was still riding coming up the steps there. So I gave him a big hug. So good to meet you, Hugo, man. I really appreciate your support and good call. You know, sometimes you make some good calls in life and you should not have come up to me and been my first introduction as we're down 2-0 to El Paso. And I've booed my favorite team for the first time in history.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we've still got it. Right? People who have never met us before, take one look at our face, and you know it's not the time.
Oh yeah, I can put a stink face on. I can go do a little sourpuss face easy.
Yeah. Mine's more of a pout, but
yeah.
I mean, we got to see our buddy Greg too at half.
Yep.
It was good to see Greg coming by there in 123. Right? Shane and Heather, Ollie and Brarley. Right? Ollie greeting us with the "What's up, buttholes" this time. All right, let's get into this. Lineup comes out, not exactly what we expected, right? We thought there was going to be some rotation. I think we kind of passed on trying to throw out guesses just because almost nothing would have shocked us. But I think what surprised me the most was rolling out that 3-4-3, right, in possession as 5 back when we're on the defensive side of the ball, and that was most of the first half. But you get Kolmanich back out there across from Dessler, and then your 3 center backs, Djordjevic, the odd one out. So you had Julio in the middle, right? Svatok, right side center back. Heinzike over there on the left. Savovic and Ilie, Owen and Rubio in kind of a little box midfield look there with Mirtu up top. Again, didn't hate it, but I think if I recall correctly, the first thing I said to you was, we have nobody that can take the top off the defense if Book isn't in there. And then if Obi's not in there, man, to at least give the illusion of somebody being able to get in behind your back line, I think I immediately said this might be a rough first half for us. And that kind of played out there, at least in the possession stats.
I was shocked. I really was. We didn't take a stab at trying to predict who was going to get rotated and be on the pitch, but I was very surprised to see that 5-back lineup because we looked at it. And I mean, even in the article, I said, I'm not trying to draw too many conclusions from what we did versus Minnesota and trying to apply them to the Seattle team because they're just very, very different teams. Yes, two very good teams, but very, very different in their style of play. And on top of that, obviously, you have Dallas before that matchup as well, who's much more similar to your Minnesota than it is to a Seattle team. And so when I saw that, we're sitting there hanging out, getting ready for the game, and I was pretty shocked. I really was. I was surprised, but I thought that Nico and his staff last night went toe-to-toe with Schmetzer because we know Schmetzer's a guy who sees things and makes changes and is able to change how they want to play based on what the other team is doing. And they have that luxury because they have so many good players that they can choose from. And they just so happen to have Jesus Ferreira and Jordan Morris on the bench with Pedro de la Vega, who we're saying, okay, good Lord, you're going to have to get on the board here because once he brings these guys in, it's going to get ramped up a whole level, which it did because Jesus Ferreira and Jordan Morris come in and they just start running buck wild on us. So shout out to Nico, man, and the staff for rolling this out. It's clear that this is something that we, at worst, have in the pocket. And it might be something you're seeing more routinely from here on out. It's hard to argue with the results. I do think overall, like you said, in the first half, outplayed by Seattle overall. You do get the goal, but they found a way once again. So I'm interested to see what this starting lineup looks like going forward and what's up with Biru because this one, the Minnesota one, did not feel like a benching. This did for sure.
Well, we did get, luckily I perused the post-game presser and some of the comments. We do have an answer there. We'll talk about it post-game. Focusing on what Seattle rolled out, right? Because you mentioned some of the guys that they had off the bench and us driving up to the queue and saying, man, we really got to get one early because they have all this firepower coming off the bench. And I think the only hole, and not trying to disrespect Snyder Brunel, right, their 18-year-old winger that they had out there, outside of Brunel, these are all guys that could start for most teams in the league. And you still have, like you said, Jordan Morris, Jesus Ferreira, Pedro de la Vega, and Joao Paulo on the bench who don't end up playing, right? And I think that was probably smart by Schmetzer, conserving those guys coming back from injury. But Austin's rotation also gave us a little bit, some bullets in the chamber, so to speak, to match some of the firepower coming off that Seattle bench. And I think you see that come into play in the run of play in the second half, and we'll talk about it. But one of the other things that I was kind of pumping up or high on coming into the evening was the 6 p.m. kickoff because I was like, man, look, we got about 5 hours of NFL in today. We're going to go 6 p.m. game. We'll be back to the house by 9, and we can watch the whole second half of Sunday Night Football, dual screen it with the other MLS game that's on. This is going to be great. And then we're standing in line to get into the stadium, and the sun's beating down. And just for standing in line for 3 minutes, I was already complaining. No more 6 p.m. kickoffs.
If you're watching the YouTube stream, you might want to turn your brightness down to deal with us because the paleness levels when you're just getting blasted on the right side of your face really, really show their hand there because I was hurting too, man. And the entire premise of it, I thought was a good idea. I liked getting out of there a little bit earlier, but with that Texas sun, man, that shit is no joke.
Yeah, man. And I know you were lucky that I went to the easternmost seat, or the westernmost seat rather, because my big ass head did shield you about 15 minutes in, and I was still catching the brunt of the sun. So be gone with you 6 p.m. kickoffs. No more.
No.
And I think with that too, 6 p.m. and on a Sunday with school in session, and the Cowboys playing at the time.
Yeah.
Look, I feel for you if you are a Cowboys fan and decided to watch that game over Austin FC last night. Maybe get your priorities in order.
Yeah,
that's all
maybe.
I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe.
So getting into this one, right off the rip here, 2nd minute yellow card to Danny Musovski for a hard challenge on Owen near midfield. And this on the rewatch is the first time I see ref cam put into play. And I was actually a little surprised. The reactions I saw last night and today to the ref cam for those who were watching on the broadcast were more on the negative side. And so maybe that frustration comes from like watching the game live and having those little odd cutaways to the ref cam. But I'm a pretty big fan of that, man. I think it's pretty cool, especially watching something on like giving us an instant replay from the ref cam. I think it's a cool piece of technology. Although, why don't we just put cameras in so we can judge offsides correctly? Like I'd rather do that than have the ref cam. But either way, yellow card to Musovski, and oh boy, ref cam.
I think it's a yellow card. It's earlier in the game. This is a very, very aggressive tackle here on Owen. So I thought it was warranted with the body cam footage as well. Trying to cover their tracks now with the body cams. We give up 5.
When are we going to get the first? When are we going to get the first ref controversy where the body cam footage was deleted?
Yeah, turn that shit off.
15th minute here. I would love to see the ref cam footage of this. Dessler fouls Paul Rothrock, and Rothrock takes exception and kind of shoves Mikel off him after the whistle there, and doing a little bit of amateur lip reading here. It looked like Dessler said, "It's just a fucking foul, man," as he was backing away. And then Mirtu comes over though to Rothrock and kind of bows up to him. Referee runs over and to get Mirtu away. And it seemed to me like Mirtu was making the very fair case. Don't touch my guy.
Yeah.
And this is where on the broadcast you see it. Not our pain in the sun there in the north end, but you see Stuver, even with the ball in play, has a glove up shielding his eyes from the sun. And that is less than ideal. I think there's a coin toss at the beginning of the game where you get to, you win the toss and you choose which side you defend for the first half. And we know that Austin prefers to defend in the south end in the first half, to put that opposing keeper in front of the supporters in the second half. But I think it's now 3 home matches in a row where that has been flipped. And this is the first time where the elements were taking a toll on us. And not us, I'm talking about Brad Stuver. We can move past complaining about our pain there in the stands, but that was not good, man. And I think the sun kind of, the field got out from that little sunbeam there about 25 minutes in, but it was dicey to start.
It was really dicey to start. And oddly enough, we were routinely playing it to the left side of the pitch out of the back, with those guys having the sun just right in their eyes. And like multiple times, I mean, I don't remember exactly what play this is, but we got a goal kick. And I'm just like, for the love of God, please don't pass this ball backwards to Julio. Like, he does. Sure as shit. And then we just pass it to the guy who can't see shit. Yeah. And it was just like, all right, well, we're going to make this worse on ourselves. Yeah, it was not great. I was pretty bummed that we didn't have the opportunity for Thomas to be down there versus us and have that advantage too on our side. But didn't pay off for him anyway.
Well, especially because the Sounders, at least at this point of the game, are pressing the shit out of us on those restarts. So it was not easy playing through that sun. But 22nd minute, right here, great movement from Wolf in the final third. He's drawing a ton of defensive attention from the Sounders. He looks to find a little give and go here with Azuni, but Jackson Reagan, Seattle Shrek, steps in and trips up Mirtu a few yards above the 18. So we earned a free kick in a dangerous spot there. You can get Kolmanich and Sabovic lining up over it, and it ends up being Bessard who hits it towards goal, but right into the wall that wasn't getting over the wall even if they didn't jump. But it bounces right back to him. So Sabovic swings it to Dessler on the right, and he plays Svatok in on the right side of the 18, who slips it through to Cascante at the end line. And who'd have thought? Nothing doing.
Darn.
Wait, you're not out loud when he passed it. I said, "What's he gonna do?" And then Spot dog pass to Julio. Go, what's he going to do? And
You're
the
not
answer was
Puka.
nothing.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the effort, boys.
Oh, man. Oh, God. At least we've been saying that we think Sabo might be the guy on some of these pieces, and this was the perfect opportunity for him to get a crack at it. Not good. I mean, like you said, that's not going over a wall that's jumping. That's not going over a wall that's on a U15 team. That shit was like that was hitting people in the kneecaps, man.
Yeah.
But at least on this free kick, we didn't pass the ball backwards to Bradley Scott Stuver.
Yeah.
And be like, you kick it, even though we have Komanic in, who is the golden god left foot.
Yeah.
And we just pass it back to Stuver and just like, all right, yeah, kick this from half field. So at least we got this one, in a dangerous zone because the other one didn't work out.
Well, and Sabovic, he has another one that didn't, little volley off an offensive rebound that went over the net in the south end. And like, I turned to you and said, man, like by May of next year, one of these shots is going to go in for Sabovic, right? Like,
and he was the topic of conversation for you and I a little bit up on the ride up, and just being like, it'd be great to get a game out of him, and like, not that he's been particularly awful. I don't think he's been just like flat out poor, but he's been incredibly average this entire season. Very few highlight type of plays to look at. We were expecting a lot of switching balls from him that we saw from his highlight tapes previously, but those just haven't come to fruition for us right now.
Yeah, I mean, again, last night it was like
he's out
kind
there.
of it's your standard Sabo game, right? Like not involved a ton, 10 of 11 accurate passes, right? 3 defensive contributions. He had a clearance, 2 interceptions, 1 out of 3 on his ground duels, 62 minutes played. Some of those stats are muted because the first half, our play style was completely different from the last 30 minutes of the game after he got subbed out.
True.
Moving on here, 28th minute E. This is where Paul Rothrock is dispossessed by Mikael Dessler, and the loose ball falls to Diego Rubio, who turns upfield with Dessler overlapping him on the right side, and Paul Rothrock gets up, just 2-hand shoves Rubio down to stop the break and pick up a yellow card. And I think this is where you even made some Sounders fans in our vicinity laugh, because I think you yelled, give me my Messi jersey back. So anybody invested in the Leagues Cup about a month ago will understand that reference. And I'll give you a 9 out of 10 on that. That was good.
Hey, let's go. I've been a little bit off with the insults as of late. The early years, I was really cooking. I was cooking with gas back then, but had to tone it down a little bit.
Dude, you were on point. You were in all-star form up in Dallas last week with our boys, roasting Timmy on the way to the game.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's low-hanging fruit.
Yeah. 31st minute here. Sounders get some space after Christian rolled on, right? You had both Roldan brothers in the 11 for Seattle. Christian brings down a 50-50 ball against Sabovic, and Roldan gets it out wide right to the young kid, Brunel. And Brunel puts it across towards Danny Musovski. They gets cleared just to the top of the box by Svatok, and that clearance bounces right to the foot of Albert Rusnak, who has a crack, and Svatok is able to get his body back in front of Rusnak to block that one out for a corner. And I know it's not the case because there's been so many games and so many blocked shots for this team. But over the last 2 months, I feel like every time Svatok or Heinzike have gotten themselves squarely in front of an opposing shot, it fucking deflects in. And so for this one to deflect out for a corner, finally.
Yeah, it has definitely felt that way as of late with these deflections, man. But a good defensive play by Svatok. And it's still part of the game plan. You know what I mean? That's still part of what we want to do on the defensive side of the ball. And
especially the first half.
Yeah, you kind of have to live with those deflected goals. It just comes with the field.
37th minute, Seattle, again, with all the momentum here in the first half. And possession was 70-30 in the first 45 minutes. So the Sounders have earned a corner here after Rothrock had advanced the ball to the end line at his feet, drew a double team, and got it out for the corner. They take that one short. Then a pass from Alex to Christian Roldan, where Christian has an open-headed chance that is halfway into the goal here on the near post. But Stuver lays out, gets a fingertip to it that pushes it off the post and back into the field of play. Cleared out for another corner, and then Austin was able to turn the Sounders over on the second corner. So crisis averted, but except maybe not, because right after that second clearance, Dessler sits down, trainers come out, And in the 40th minute, John Gallagher subs on for Mikael Dessler. Did get an update on Dessler, as we speculated, as he was walking off under his own power. It appears that the scans don't show anything dire. The initial tests last night did not show anything dire, so I think they're going to get more imaging done here today or tomorrow. I doubt we see him before the first, and I hope he's in the starting 11 on the first. We need him in some capacity.
Please don't play him versus RSL if he's not 100% full go. Even then, in that elevation, we'll get to that when we'll cross that bridge later. But stunning, breathtaking save. I don't know what else to say about this. Like it's so funny too that it's so reminiscent of the Stephen Fry header save where he kind of like uses his left hand to scoop it, but we know that ball actually went in. This one did not.
I did not want to invoke Rigoni goal last night, but I thought the exact same thing when it happened.
It was crazy how similar those plays were. It was nuts. And what a reactionary save from Stuver. And I mean, we know that he had what we think and agreed on that was not a great save versus or an attempt on that Minnesota free kick earlier. And he came back with a vengeance last night to make up for any wrongdoings that took place in that Minnesota matchup, and this was the start of it. It was incredible.
43rd minute here. The Sounders playing it around the back, just inside their own half, and the ball comes to the foot of Jackson Reagan, and he looks up, and it looks like from the broadcast that he picks out a runner, and then he's trying to kind of lump this one long. And as he does, Rubio takes this big stride to block the pass, and the deflection bounces right into his own path, sprinting towards the Sounders net. And Diego takes 2 touches, bends it around Andrew Thomas for the opening goal to shock the Sounders before the half. And maybe to shock all of the Austin fans too, because what year is it? Yeah. Diego Rubio solo breakaway goal created by himself. Fantastic effort by Diego. And look, man, he can stay on a supplemental deal for another decade if he wants.
Absolutely. Draw some fouls, take some free kicks. This is a great effort, like you mentioned here, just to be able to get this turnover off some defensive effort and then slot it home calmly. And we've seen plenty of guys this season not be able to finish one-on-ones with keepers. Didn't bother Diego Rubio one bit. Put it right past Andrew Thomas, and here we go. And now you're just feeling absolutely fantastic because you've been getting – I do want to say like the 70-30 possession in the first half was obviously controlled by Seattle. They had the ball a ton. They weren't generating a lot of great looks. This rolled-on header just right before with the Stuver save was absolutely by far and away their best attempt of that first half, and we were able to stone it. And then you go ahead and get this momentum-shifting goal by Diego Rubio here, and now just getting to half 1-0, you got to feel good about yourself.
Well, I think when we're up on the concourse at the break, right after this goal happens, like, of course we're going to be in good spirits. Of course we're going to be seeing everything a little bit more positively. But if I'm remembering right, I think we were kind of saying to each other about 35, 40 minutes in that, like, it's been a lot of this down here in our end, but the defense was mostly holding up pretty strong. Like, it was really that Stuver diving save was the only real danger in that first half.
Mm-hmm.
So in stoppage time, there are 4 minutes given there, and we had a cooling break in both halves. So in the 3rd minute of stoppage in the first half, great ball over the top here from Rusnak in the direction of Paul Rothrock down the right side. And then Rothrock crosses it towards the near post from that right side of the 18. And Danny Masovsky is in the area, but Svatok again steps in to knock it out for a corner. And I think, especially in the first half, Svatok stood out as a guy who got benched for the Open Cup semifinal, was not in the 3-back, and then gets the call in the 3-back here today in place of Djordjevic, or yesterday rather. I think he did well to answer the call there.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So that corner got cleared out 30-ish yards from net to the foot of Nuhu. And I jokingly go, shoot it! And then you go, oh shit, he's gonna. And he put it right to the guy in front of us in row 123, which was a nice catch, buddy. I don't know. That was somebody sitting in Damon's seats, but one-handed catch kept his beer.
Yeah, kept the beer intact. Nuhu, man, he's a funny guy. He's a character. He's funny to watch, dude.
He's Seattle B-Roo.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Nuhu was first, so Biru is Austin Nuhu.
Yeah. That's a good description. Svatok, man, you're always going to get solid defense out of him. He's just very stiff in possession, and he just doesn't move too well, like when you're up there. But happy to see.
Pretty.
Yeah, no, it does not look pretty. Oh.
So coming out of the half, you do get a change for Seattle. Georgie Manungu, the Monongai guy, he comes in for the youngster Brunel. And it takes Manungu 35 seconds to make an impact here. And I think at least half of the crowd, including you and I, still finding their seats coming off of the high of halftime. And Seattle, on their first possession, off the first whistle here in the second half, matriculates up the field. You get Christian Roldan putting one down the right side to Danny Musovski, who looks up after his first touch and sees the sub Manungu making a diagonal run across the box, plays it early. Great pass by Musovski here, right into the path of Manungu, who beats Gallagher to it. And this one is not on Bradley Scott-Stuver. This is just a tap-in for Manungu, and you credit the young kid for the finish. But all of a sudden, 35 seconds in, it's 1-1. All of the work you did to feel so good at halftime is erased. And to make matters worse, I'm glad I saw proof of life from Mike Cragnola today, because Manungu backflip sellied right in his face. That fucking southwest corner is the Swoon Tower corner, dude. And I didn't see the backflip selly live, but I saw it on the fucking rewatch today. I was like, oh my God, Mike.
Man, this kid's good. He brings a real spark, and like this goal sucks all the life out of the building, because like you said, most people, I would imagine we're not the only ones who are feeling great at halftime, getting some more drinks, seeing some friends, freshening up, and then moseying our way back down to our seats and everything like that. Just took all the life out of the building with a really, really nice buildup. But
it was surgical. It was crisp.
It was. Look, man, I feel like I've been a little too negative on Johnny. I don't think this is great defense. I really don't. Sure. You let this guy face cut you. You weren't running full speed with him. I was very confused by the defensive effort here, and I wasn't going to say it for this one because I think the second one is inexcusable by John. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Nothing Brad could do with this. There's nobody who can save this ball. It's a great play, surgical, and now you're 1-1. And again, like with the context of the first half and how it played out, I just looked it up, like you said, 70% possession. Also, they had 7 corners in that first half, just to illustrate how in our zone they were that entire first 45. So like, not feeling great now because the context of the game had clearly favored Seattle. And we also knew that they had Jesus Ferreira and Jordan Morris to bring this game whenever they wanted to.
Yeah. And we didn't know if Joao Paulo or Pedro is coming in there with them.
But also in the same vein, I'll say in the same vein, we're a night and day team offensively when Osman's not on the field or he's on the field. If he's on the field, we can really stretch a defense. We can really play open and can get up and down a little bit with these guys. If he's not on the field, man, and that's what
defenses don't respect us without him on the field.
No, they do not. And like there's also just nothing you can do about his level of speed. I've said that so many times at this point, but it's just a fact about what happens and what changes with the game when he's on. It opens a lot of other people up in that. So I was still holding on hope that like once we got Buka in, I felt like we were going to change this thing up a little bit offensively. And I do think that was the case.
Well, and I do want to jump back to Johnny here for a second because, we have I've brought it up to you, and you've said it on the pod over the last couple of weeks. Where maybe I'm being a little bit harsh on John Gallagher, but this is not the only place where the Gallagher conversation is happening right now from what I see across them internets. Yeah. And I think the thing that stood out to me when I sat and thought about it a little bit more today was when Johnny signed here, he was 24, right? He's got I think his birthday's in February or something. I looked up his age earlier today. He will be 30 to begin next season. So he was a young lad when he got here. Yeah. And he's not an old man now, but in the life of a footballer, when you hit 30 in multiple sports is a generalized age cliff. And so we may, with the speed, factor, we may be seeing the start of the decline just physically, right? And that's not his fault if it's just that he's 29 going on 30 now.
Yeah.
And no longer the fastest or the second fastest guy on the field, as he has been over the last 4 years when he's been out there, right? And like, again, you're not attacking Giants. It's not his effort.
Yeah.
Right? It may just be life catching up to him a little bit. And new father, he's got the young kid. So, like, I'm sure the home life, waking up in the middle of the night, all that stuff isn't helping him either.
Yeah. I mean, like, and when your speed is one of your few best attributes and you lose that, it can go downhill fast. Not saying that that's going to happen to Johnny.
Right.
He's still a fan favorite of mine. Like,
of course,
he's a club legend. He's a fan favorite. He's a fantastic human. But when I see him out there on the pitch and I see him not being able to go full speed with a young cat that just came on the field, that concerns me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's totally fair. And again, like, to me, that's just coming back. Like Manungu, he's 23.
Yeah, exactly. In there for his speed.
So 54th minute here, Obed Vargas receives the pass in his own half, and Sabovic kind of closes him down, and Vargas just blasts right past him, and nobody else steps in to help Sabo after he got beaten. So Vargas goes all the way from the midline to the top of our 18 and drags it across the top of the 18 as he arrives into that dangerous area before uncorking a shot that goes just wide of the target. And the poor defense continued right there, 10, 15 minutes coming out of the half. And it just felt like we were a little bit asleep coming out there. And maybe that's an argument for subs coming in earlier. But I think, again, now with the power of hindsight, I do think Nico made some good calls. And again, you mentioned the kind of chess battle with Schmetzer. As we go through the final half hour here, I think, like you hinted at earlier, I think Nico wins the battle.
I think so. And this game really took on so many forms last night.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Particularly for Austin, you're absorbing in this first half. You get a kind of smash and grab goal with Diego one-man press. And then you move into the second half here, and your defensive unit that we saw in the first half being incredibly stout and not giving up good looks really starts to show some cracks. I mean, Julio on this play, I don't know what he's doing. Sabo just getting absolutely run by. Can't even get back into the picture.
Yeah.
To put a hand on Vargas's shoulder or back or something, so like this crack, if this was on frame, I think it's a goal, because he's got the right amount of curve on it. He got so much closer than I thought he was expecting to, that he put a little too much pep on this. So you got fortunate here, but you did start to see the cracks in this defensive unit right around this time. And the game starts to open up a whole lot more, particularly once all of these subs start to get in.
And here's where Seattle makes their second change. And it's a double change here. You get Jesus Ferreira and Jordan Morris in for Paul Rothrock and Danny Masovsky. And just like Manungu, both of these subs have an immediate impact because in the first minute that they're on the pitch, Jesus Ferreira drifts across midfield, like right at the midline there in the center circle to receive a pass. And when that ball comes to him, he immediately backheel flicks it right into the path of an open Jordan Morris. And Morris is in behind with BHI trying to catch up. And Morris kind of drifts out to his right to try to open up some space, but Stuver is positioned very well here, right? He's got that 70 positioning on FIFA this year. He knows how to stand in the goal.
There you go.
And I will credit Heinzike here for the effort to try to catch up to him, because he helped close that window down where the only place Morris could try to put it is that upper corner, and doesn't get a good hit on it, and Stuver was able to parry it out for a corner. And after Austin clears that corner out, the next dead ball, we get a double change, Buka and Danny on for Rubio and Sabovic. And that's where the game really turns in our favor.
Yep, absolutely. Once you get those two guys on, and this is the start of BHI and Julio just getting whooped by Jordan Morris and Jesus Ferreira. Like, this was the sign of it where it was just like, oh shit, we got a real problem, which we knew once those two guys were going to come on the field. I mean, I took a bike ride with Debo earlier, and he was like, damn, who was that Seattle coach? He goes, every time he subbed somebody on, that dude immediately got a shot off or made a play. And I was like, yeah, a really great coach, and they also have really great players on that side of the field too.
And their fans want to fire him.
Yeah,
every other week.
Hey, don't worry, we'll come chat about y'all a little later once we get through this recap. Thank God for the subs here. I'm glad Nico did not delay on these, and I think this was the turning point where the chess match went in Austin's favor just a little bit, particularly with how lethal and dangerous Seattle was looking up until the 61st minute here.
Yeah. When you see that initial attack from those two guys, and to be able to answer with those subs right away, that is where I think, right, and again, with the benefit of hindsight, because in the 70th minute, Seattle makes their fourth change. You get Danny Leyva in for Albert Rusnak, which that was a big plus for us getting Rusnak off the field.
That's a drop-off for sure.
Yes, and since the Austin subs came in, it's been, on the rewatch, all Austin possession in the Seattle half. Because we talk about how Bukhari being on or off the field can just completely change the way a team approaches us. But we also know that no Danny, no party is like a scientific constant, and bringing him back into the midfield, helps almost as much. And the connectivity then between the midfield and your front three, or whatever you want to call the front alignment last night, once these changes were made,
absolutely
night and day.
Yep, absolutely. Danny, again, just so incredibly understated what he does for this team and how much better we look when he's out there.
But here in the 71st, right? So about 10 minutes of Austin shifting the momentum, but we know the Sounders can strike quickly at any moment. And here they do find a crack in the Austin defense with Jesus given a lot of time and space just over midfield near the benches. And he picks out Jordan Morris, who's in, like you mentioned a couple minutes ago, in behind Julio. And Morris takes a touch, tries to chip it over Stuver, but Brad comes up big once again with another huge save, which was, I mean, we're getting to the one here.
Yeah.
But first, 78th minute, another double change for Austin brings CJ and Duber in for Ilie and Owen Wolf, and standing O for CJ Fodrey. Well-deserved.
Yeah, standing O while he was warming up.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
As soon as he got up, people were excited for that. Again, I like these subs. I wasn't too thrilled about getting Owen off the field, but again, we've been running the kid ragged as of late, and he just does a whole lot for our team. But with Danny in there, it feels way better to be able to take Owen off, because Danny can do and simulate a lot of things that Owen does. I think as soon as Danny comes in, I think immediately you see some possession from Austin where he starts it on the left side. Ball works around. He sprints all the way to the other side of the field, receives it, and then we progress from there. And that's just something that Savovich and Ilie can't do. I mean, we don't have the time to wait for those guys to get across.
Yeah.
So, I felt a little better that with Danny out there when we took Owen off. And obviously the CJ sub is another good call.
In the 82nd minute, Seattle grabbing what is almost full hold, I think, of the momentum for a few minutes here. Julio plays just a howler of a pass here that's just right to the foot of Jesus Ferreira, and Ferreira slides it ahead to Manungu inside the right of the 18, and Manungu plays it right back to Ferreira, who had then snuck in behind Duber, Heinzike, and Danny.
Yeah.
So again, even some of the fresh legs here falling asleep on a pretty simple give and go, and I thought pretty great touch to cushion that pass in, because it was coming in hot to Jesus. But then he takes this additional touch that allows Brad to get a hand on it, and then he dives on the loose ball to completely stifle the danger. But man, again, it's nervy moments at the back here closing it out.
I mean, just like we said with versus Minnesota, you're going to need a little luck to beat this team, and you got some luck last night. Some of it came in the form of Bradley Scott-Stuver being incredible. Some of it came in the form of your shots that you have with the attempt with Rubio and this play at the end of the game going your way. But you definitely needed a little luck here, but inexcusable defense by three people on this play here. The turnover by Julio, good God, brother, 1-1. We're in the 80th minute here. We just can't have that. It just can't happen. And then to compound it and let this give and go, like what you said, relatively simple, just sneak behind you. Another great play by Bradley Scott-Stuver. I haven't even gotten to his best play yet.
Yeah. Next minute, or really off the goal kick, Kolmanich passes ahead to Mirtu, who turns on Jackson Reagan just inside the Austin half and like leaves him in the dust. Seattle Shrek looked gassed at that moment. I was a little bit surprised we did not see maybe a Kim Keehee for him just because of how tired he looked in this moment. That creates a 4-on-2.5 if we're being nice to Seattle here. Or maybe even being nice to Mirtu, because he carries it ahead himself. He's got CJ to his left, Bukhari and John Gallagher on his right, and he decides to take the shot himself from the top of the 18 and sends it halfway up section 124. CJ
Terrible.
was open there.
Terrible. This was awful. If this was Hot Air Obriant, people would be losing their fucking minds.
And by people, you mean you and me?
Well, everyone. Pretty much everyone. This was horrible. Horrible. Yeah, the fastest player in the league, Pritnear, open, running. You got a wide open CJ. They are scrambling to get back, and you just
they got two guys.
Completely bail them out with this shot. And like, even if this, and for it to not be on net, dude, like where we have an opportunity numbers wise to potentially get a rebound. This was awful. This was an incredibly terrible play by Izuni. Yes, he makes up for it, but again, if this was, I mean, this is very similar to the CJ attempt and
Dallas.
What we had to talk about with that, just like this is an awful play.
It's identical.
And for Mirtu being a veteran guy, not to know what to do here is inexcusable. Just awful play.
He doesn't know what he's going to do, and he never figures it out. Fuck yeah. 86th minute here. I know you were frustrated with Brendan Hines-Ike getting caught in the corner down in the south end and just playing it straight out of bounds. Seattle takes it quick. And then Alex Roldan slips Jordan Morris through to the end line where Jordan Morris fires a ball across the face of net. Georgie Manungu crashing that back post, cuts right across the face of John Gallagher again with an open net in front of him, redirects it on frame. And Bradley Scott Stuver comes out of fucking nowhere to save the game.
Save the game.
This is, and I want to put out the call to any North End listeners, comment on any socials here on YouTube, fucking email us, send a smoke signal. If you have a better Brad Stuver save in an Austin uniform, I'm sure there are candidates, right? Mm-hmm. But like, and maybe I'm just allowing the recency bias to just completely envelop me here, but I think that's his best save in an Austin uniform because that is tougher than a PK save.
Yep.
That is, dude, look at this.
The net is wide open. YouTube,
you can see it. 0.78 XG, 0.98 expected goals on target. Expected goals on target says that's a goal.
Yeah, that because it was wide open. The net was wide open. He comes fucking diving out of nowhere to save this ball. And I'm with you. Again, I also don't have a steel trap memory, but it's hard to try to think of a save that was more impressive. I mean, we even saw Sounders fans in the social pages commenting about how incredible this save was, how amazing Stuver was, and we're just like, yeah, nobody talks about him, dude, because we're Austin, but like he's the fucking man. You guys found out last night because this is just I can't think of one. So like, please, if anyone has one, I would love to go back and watch it and relive that again because this is an absolutely game-saving save here. Johnny Gallagher, this can't happen, bud. I'll be nice. This can't happen, man. This is inexcusable. This is not how we play defense anywhere. So that's got to get cleaned up. And like I said, with Dessler versus RSL, I do think Johnny's probably going to be slotted into that starting lineup and a chance to wipe some of this run of form off of you. Yeah. Because this is bad defense.
Well, and it's not like it hasn't been a narrative amongst the fans before Johnny at the back post on defense.
Yep. Yeah.
Like we were getting burned on that last year with JG.
Yep.
So like, again, it's just it seems like it's a problem that persists.
Yeah, for sure. And again, he's at full context. He's playing out of position. This is not where he normally feels good. And I think that he probably would want to be in a wing role, but like, it's just, we can't with Buka now for sure.
Yeah. Well, 6 minutes of stoppage time are given here in the second half. In the second minute, do get a yellow card to Jesus Ferreira for pulling back Osman on a counter. Then we get Reed Baker-Whiting in for Alex Roldan as the Sounders' final change. And all the subs for Austin have gone back to the bench. So I know, again, I guess I'll just say it here, E, since I'm talking about the subs. The update had some knee soreness, and they just want to make sure he's good for the first.
Okay.
So I accept that explanation. I also would have loved put him on the field for after the goal that comes here in a few moments. Put him on the field because he's on yellow card caution, and we could have snuck a game out of that in that last 30 seconds. And you can't plan for that because what happens next after this? I mean, on this free kick off the Ferreira foul on Book, Kolmanich is on it, and he lofts it towards the scrum going on at the far post. And CJ rises up between Reagan and Yamar and heads it towards the back post, but Andrew Thomas gets down to his left, almost as good of a save as Brad had minutes before. And Thomas is able to touch it out for a corner, but I thought CJ was going to do it. I think I turned around to our buddy Alex and was like, I mean, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Just the fact that he got it that close was like, holy shit, you can't stop this kid right now.
And I mean, these are the types of plays that we always knew that he was going to be able to do, regardless of how well he was playing or not. He's big, he's athletic, and he's good in the air. He's got solid timing. And I thought this was going into an incredible save by Thomas here. What would have been a game-saving save if we don't get this play later on here. But wow, CJ just absolutely scorching right now. And again, same situation, man. I think it's within the first couple minutes of when he gets in this game, he sprints down the right side of the field and retrieves the ball and does it every time. You know what I mean? And that is not as important as scoring game-winning goals, but those are plays that contribute to you getting 3 points. And he's just been doing that. He's absolutely on fire. Love to see it, man. Don't want to go to your head, with Owen and stuff like that. You're getting standing O's now and everything. Keep working, keep grinding.
So in the final of the 6 minutes of stoppage here, Cascante brings a ball down and gains control just inside Austin's half of the pitch. He touches it on to Svatak, who advances it himself over midfield before ushering it out wide right to Gallagher. And as Gallagher is slowed up by Christian Roldan closing him down, Danny looks like he checks his shoulder and sees Manungu just behind him trotting. And Danny takes off, sprints into that space that Roldan vacated, and Manungu doesn't follow him. So Gally squares it to Danny, who's near the top corner of the 18. He takes the touch to settle the ball before lofting it towards the back post, where CJ has read this pass perfectly and separates himself from his defender to meet the ball at the perfect angle to nod it back across the face of net, where Mirtu Izuni is a bit turned around trying to stay onside here. And he just does and sticks out a foot that redirects this service into the net for the winner. And as they sometimes say across the pond, he limbs at Q2. You pause it right after that goal goes in. Everybody in the stands has both hands thrown into the air. And then after the goal, a favorable wind following National Talk Like a Pirate Day takes the North End confetti down onto the guys for their celebration. So we always love when the confetti makes it on the broadcast, E. But, I mean, unbelievable.
Stunning. Like I said, to open this, stunning. It's just been what a ride this has been so far for this team. CJ, his emergence, man, to find another goal almost at the end of this game. I mean, it's not at the death, but it's you're on life support at that point if you're Seattle, man. And to be able to get this, and Mirtu, you saw some of that emotion there. That wasn't That was
finally got a Mirtu roar, dude. The lion roars.
Yeah, he got the net cam in the back there. Did you see that shot? That's great. He's shaking that shit. So you finally got that emotion out of him. And again, just couldn't be happier for the guys, man. You're finding ways to get things done against very, very high quality teams in this Western Conference. Everything you still want is right in front of you. You have the Open Cup championship waiting, looming. You have a playoff spot all but secured at this point in time. You might as well just put it in, in pen at this point, because we're right there on the doorstep for this to be clinched. And you're riding high right now, and again, the synergy and stuff that you talked about with this team kind of gelling as of late.
Yeah.
You can see the difference. And I know that that's coming off of what was arguably the worst loss of the season versus Dallas and what it looked like and how it's changed. But you're seeing that really continuity between these guys really grow. And it's been awesome to watch. It's like me showing up in my Ring camera drunk at 2:00.
That's one for the YouTube viewers. 42% possession for Austin at the end of this one. But look, first half I mentioned 70-30. So that final number is indicative, right? 52-48 in favor of Austin in the second half. 17 shots to 10 in favor of the Sounders. But again, very similar to that Minnesota match. More shots to the opponent, but 6 shots apiece on target. 13 corners to 3 in favor of the Sounders on the night, which again, especially in the first half, all of those stats that we talked about on the preview episode, especially on their offensive side of the ball, not just the possession won in the final third from their press, the top 3 in corners, all of that stuff. It all played out last night, but Austin creates 2 big chances, converted both of them, and that's the type of stuff we like to see, man. The team continues to, even in a more conservative alignment for the majority of this match, able to generate big chances. And when it comes back to goals change games, man, right? Like you get the big chances, you convert them, you're going to pull off games that the eye test and sometimes your underlying numbers say that you shouldn't have won. And this team has done that plenty this year, especially in the second half of the season.
Read my mind right there. Read my line. The line is so thin in this game. It's such a fine line that you have to toe between winning and losing. And when you're efficient with these chances, albeit limited chances that we have created this season, you end up with results like this. And when you're not efficient with those chances, you end up with the results that we saw during that brutal month of May, where you're dropping games 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, what have you. So this was a huge win. I'd much rather be good now than good in May. So this is much more important to me. I think it holds more weight. You're defining what your team looks like as you move into this playoff scenario. So this was an absolutely stunning win. First time ever beating these bozos at home. I hope anyone, who might dabble in Pacific Northwest podcast was able to listen to some of these guys talking about how trash we were and how we're going to come in here and steamroll us. And I know there's some good, there's a nice little tweet out there from the North End about all that nonsense, but just an absolutely spectacular win, a 6-point game. You know what I mean? And a game absolutely. That I don't think a lot of fans, maybe I shouldn't speak for a lot of fans, but me and myself being reserved to being like, I think a tie here is a win for Austin before this game actually kicked off.
Yeah.
To understand that this was a full 6 points. You're 1 point behind them now. They play a Vancouver club in their next matchup, and then they have their rivalry game with Portland as well. So, not two easy teams. Obviously, we're playing RSL with the game for the Open Cup looming, but this was a massive 3 points for Austin here, and we'll start to see this playoff alignment really start to take shape next 2 weeks here. Teams are starting to get eliminated. We'll see teams moving up. So just incredibly happy for everyone. God, what a win. We were partying. We had a good night.
So on FOTMob's model, it was 1.63 XG for Austin to 2.26 for Seattle, but 2.6 expected goals on target for Austin to 2.81 for Seattle. Like you mentioned, first home win against the Sounders in club history. That was one thing I was telling our buddies at halftime was this is the first lead that we've had on the Sounders at home in club history. And that made it hurt even more when Manungu puts it in immediately. It's like, well, that was a fun 3 minutes. And look, man, after you check the Sounders off the list of teams you have to beat at home, that leaves just one. And they come to the Q in 2 weeks. So I know we will be coming off the highest of highs that we've had or the lowest of lows in that Open Cup final. But that is another first here on the menu at the end of this season that we can check off the list. And St. Louis, man, 13th place, 28 points from their 31 games. I know they've been playing a little bit better of late, but that team is ripe for a whooping, and they have never come in here and beat us cleanly. right?
True.
Kip Keller game with a win. Last year, Cilio Pompeu off the inner thigh of Ethan Finley gets them a point. So this is a team, right? Again, I'm looking way too far ahead here, but that's another thing that I have now added to my wish list here at the end of the 2025 season is to beat St. Louis at home with whoever we roll out there.
I mean, as long as McSorley doesn't do anything to us, I think you'll be all right.
God damn that fucker. We'll talk about him in a minute. Congrats to Brad Stuver for making team of the match day in the starting lineup. Mirtu Izuni on the bench, which I guess, I think with team of the match day here, they're including all the teams that played 2 games. So you had a hat trick from Sun, a hat trick from Buanga. Messi played 2 games. Alonso Martinez played 2 games. So I guess I understand Mirtu being on the bench here, but I don't like it, and you can't make me.
There we go.
Congrats to those guys. Austin, courtesy of the media team, now 3-0-0 on Sunday Night Soccer. So bring Weeby back, man. We're undefeated and untied.
There we go.
Weeby in the stadium.
I mean, as long as they're not at 6, you know what I mean?
Fuck yeah.
We'll take it. Man, this is a whole lot of blue.
Mm-hmm.
Woo.
Yeah. But again, a strong passing map.
Yep.
And one that's not super surprising because we didn't have Book on there, but for 30 minutes, so there wasn't a ton of opportunity to extend that passing map forward there. Toggling through a couple of these other ones, you see, right? 17 of their shots, 10 of them the poor XG category, another 3 on the average side. So again, the defense continues to do well at limiting the quality of the opponent's chances game in and game out.
I mean, it's baked into the plan to let some of these teams take some poor shots from outside the net and just let Stuver handle them, and we're gonna live with that stuff. Sometimes you die by that stuff, but overall on the night, the defense was sound. We definitely had some cracks in that second half. And the Seattle team, I think, they're probably not feeling great about not walking out of there with at least a point. I mean, again, the game-saving save is a great way to describe what Stuver did in the winning moments of that match. But they had some chances, man. And Bradley Scott Stuver came up really big. There's still some stuff that we can clean up with that defensive unit. And I want to see if this 5-back, 3-4-3, whatever you want to call it, in possession with potential box midfield is if it's something we're going to be working with moving forward. So great win.
You do get Mirtu named as the man of the match in the stadium. I would have picked Brad Stuver, like a number of fans on social media would have as well. But I just want to say it's not super cool to go on the man of the match post for Mirtu and scream about how it should have been Brad. You could think those things, but not super cool.
Okay.
And because I go and watch this morning the video that the team posted of Mirtu doing the heartbeat in front of the South End.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, right when he finishes, the smile that comes across his face and he starts dancing, made me feel great seeing that this morning. Because we've been waiting for Mirtu to not to have the big games. He's had big games here in the second half of the season, but to show the emotion that we saw in all those pictures of him in his domination with Granada, right? In the second division in Spain there, man. And you saw a little bit of that last night. And so if we have broken that seal for the Lion, I'm very excited to see more roar celebrations, especially in the North End.
Dude, I mean, well-deserved for Mirtu. So happy for him as well. And it was, I feel like, a big kind of weight off of his shoulders. We knew that stuff was weighing on him when he was like, I got to do more for you guys. I got to do stuff at home. You know what I mean? I got to do all these things. It's like, okay, it's on your mind. You're clearly thinking about it. So for him to get the game winner last night, get some of that emotion out, I absolutely love it. And hopefully he keeps riding this thing. He's been overlooked a lot in this kind of successful run that we've had. We've obviously had the discourse between BV, or does it matter if there's Mirtu there? What's going on with this, that, and the other thing? The rise of Owen, the sudden emergence of CJ Fodrey, and the consistent excellence of Bradley Scott Stuver. But Mirtu has put together a run that we talked about being this is what one of the top strikers in the league gives you routinely. And he's been on that pace. So huge shout out to Mirtu for that game winner. Guy wants to score, man.
I'm going to continue to shit on goals added here because Danny with a 36.
I thought we were done with this.
I mean, I'm
out.
clicking through here. I just look,
right.
Let me be mad for a second, right? I can't be happy all day.
Okay. Oh yeah. Don't want. Yeah. Let's not risk that.
I'm just saying.
As you're screaming and mocking me before we go on air today.
Oh man. Some of the comments from Nico E. He did bring up, it's not just me. He did bring up Seattle's roster build being deep, but he mentioned, tacked it on the end there, that they got the bonus GAM this season from the league. So they are playing with the stacked deck there. And also, like we talked about, right? He said Dessler dealing with a lower body issue still testing to this point has not shown any major injuries. We watched him walk off under his own power last night. At this moment, I don't think there's been any indication that Dessler or Biru would not be available for the final next Wednesday. So that's certainly something to, the health of the entire team is of paramount importance to everybody involved, fans included, over the next 9 days now until the final.
Yeah, absolutely. No injuries that'll prevent you from making it to the stadium, y'all. Glad to hear that. I love the context surrounding Biru. Obviously, I was very much thinking he's in the doghouse a little bit. As we've seen Robbie Taylor be banished.
Yeah.
For life.
Again, dude, with Robert Taylor, it still could be that there's some sort of appearances or minutes clause that would change something in his contract that we don't want to trigger.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the most likely explanation at this point because he's just not playing. But we'll see. If there is something like that, I imagine that at Roto's post-season presser or maybe in the preseason one, right, we'll get multiple Roto opportunities or opportunities to hear Roto speak, rather, in the offseason. I would hope somebody is going to ask about that situation because if it isn't a contract thing that is hidden from public view, it's a failure at this point, that trade at the deadline from April. And again, we just don't have enough information as outsiders looking in on what's going on behind the scenes there between him and Nico, him and the teammates, what have you.
Yeah.
But I would sure like the guy who's going to hit our cap at $600K or something next year. I would sure like to think that he could be in the mix for some minutes here, but left out of the team completely. I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah. I don't want to bring the vibe down too much here since we're riding high and everything. But yes.
I can't be happy all day.
Okay.
Someone's got to piss me off.
You called it earlier with Julio, and we were going to need to get important minutes out of him. And now you've gotten 2 games in a row, back to back, with just absolutely massive minutes from him. And I also would like to believe that we could count on Robbie Taylor to give us some important minutes down the stretch here if he's called upon. This RSL game presents itself and looks like a game where you're going to get a good amount of rotation with your routine starters. And, obviously going in there with that mindset, that strategy of trying to get some rest before the cup game is one thing. And it kind of sets a precursor to what the result could be. But obviously winning that game is possible versus a bad RSL team. And if you have an opportunity to step up and make an impact on a season when you haven't been getting a lot of playing time, you could find that opportunity versus RSL coming up. Don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because, a little more time to celebrate and enjoy and bask in this fantastic win over that very, very good club, man. It's a Leagues Cup champion. And to your point about what you talked about before, where we said, we're obviously, we don't have delusions of grandeur where we're one of the top 4 teams in this Western Conference, or maybe top 3 at this point. With the recent run and form of Minnesota, some of the injuries they're now dealing with, the guys that
just
have
beat
left.
3 and 5, right?
Yes. So you're looking at that, and we've beaten San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
You beat Minnesota. You beat LAFC. You beat Seattle. So you found ways to hang with these upper echelon teams that we've talked about. And in the playoffs, we're going to be a tough draw, man. I really do believe that we're going to be a tough draw. I'm not saying that you're going to go out there and set the fucking world on fire, but with the way that we play, I think that is a bit of a thorn in the side for these teams that play a much more fluid style of soccer that's much more open and free. Your San Diego's, your LAFC's now, obviously, with everything that they have over there, Jesus Christ. But this was a massive win, a big, big win in club history, honestly, to beat this team at home with everything on with the seating on the line there.
Yeah, I mean, we've played Seattle the most. They were the team we had played the most games at home without a home victory over, right? Because we only played St. Louis twice at home. That is the playoff picture, as we close out the first team recap here. Now a 95% chance at a top 7 seed. So you have essentially locked that up.
Yep.
Right now, 53% chance at the 6th seed is your most likely finish. But with the win last night, your second most likely finish is now a 22% chance at the 5th seed because, like we mentioned on the preview episode, a win last night puts you just a point behind Seattle, both teams with 4 matches left to play. 7th seed right behind that at 21%. So this is something we'll talk about again on Wednesdays, or rather Thursdays, preview episode heading into Salt Lake. We can clinch a top 7 seed next weekend with a win. And a loss or draw by the Rapids against the Loons, and a loss or draw by Frisco against the Timbers. But you will clinch at least home field in the wild card match to at least the 8th seed with a win, and one of those teams losing or drawing that I mentioned, and just a win against RSL clinches at least a wild card berth. So again, it's also not just going to be our results, but the results of all the teams below us that bring these clinching scenarios over the next month. So we're here now, right? And we'll really dive into it on Thursday.
Hey, just handle your business. They'll let them play, let them cannibalize one another. Let's just handle our fucking business. We got a lot of stuff to play for here, man. This is just a super exciting time to be an Austin FC fan. It's just a great time.
Anything else for you on this one?
No.
Come on down to Farmer Field where the champions play. Get ready for the game. It's last business day.
Last business day here on episode 258 of the North End Podcast. We knew coming into this one, taking on the best team in MLS Next Pro was a big challenge at home. I think in this starting lineup, the only real surprise to me was that Jimmy Farcarlin was on the bench here for the second team. You did get Ruben Bonachera right back in at his left back position coming off the red card. Peter Grogan off the bench as we expected. And then that bastard Brendan McSorley not with their second team, because he was up with the first team.
Yeah.
2 goals and an assist against the Quakes. So look, man, like you hinted at earlier, if Brendan McSorley does anything against our first team, I will be furious 2 weeks from now. We also had Ismail Elfath as the head official at Palmer Field on Friday night. Apparently this was his first game back from a significant injury that he's coming back from. So, right, Elfath, an Austin area resident. So easing back in, right, return to play protocol for who I think is one of the top officials in the United States here in Ismail Elfath, right? A guy with World Cup games on his resume. And in this one, man, we'll pick it up in the 23rd. St. Louis won a quarter near side to the stands, and they lumped that ball right in front of net towards Jääskeläinen, who got the start, right, the super draft pick up top. It goes over Jääskeläinen and lands right between Riley Thomas and the St. Louis captain McKenna, the center back for them. And Riley tried to poke it out of danger, but that clearance attempt just kind of floated right to the foot of Miguel Perez, who banged it home off the volley. There was no chance for Charlie on this one. And 1-0 St. Louis early on. Kind of not an exact replica of the 4-2 ass whooping they handed us a couple months back, but similar start, similar vibes.
That's you just can't start these games like this. That Jääskeläinen kid, he's got some talent. I think he's a little older though, right? Like he's
I
not
think
like
he's 23-ish. He was in college 3 or 4 years. I think he was a Duke Blue Devil, if I recall correctly. But I mean, he was one of those guys that we were looking at in the super draft where we're probably not going to take him because international slot, but talented.
Yeah, definitely talented, and just a rough way to start this game, man. A big game like we talked about, and having to play this team that's been at the top of the table, clear of the table by 11 points or something, like 12 something points like that. Yeah. It's going to be a tough challenge.
33rd minute was a yellow card to St. Louis's Cam Silly for pulling back Alice Dway on a potential breakaway, and off that free kick, Austin plays it forward into the path of Micah Burton. Passes a bit hot, and the defender gets there before Micah can. They play it back to the keeper, and the keeper, Welsh, plays it like right back in the direction of where it came from. But like at this point, Micah Burton is in the passing lane, so he steps in and picks it off, immediately squares it to Alice Dway, who dribbles around the keeper, making a desperate attempt to get back in front of net and slots home the equalizer, and we will take it.
Absolutely. There we go. Something to get yourself back in this game and feel pretty good about yourself.
So you get to the half 1-1, no changes at the half for either side, but we even out the deadly mistakes at the back here as Austin playing it around the back in the 52nd minute. Jacobaro pings it back to Tony Gomez wearing the armband in this one. And Gomez, his first touch is a little loose. He's looking upfield for an outlet, and on that loose touch, Jääskeläinen explodes and wins that ball right off of Tony at the edge of the 18. One additional touch for Jääskeläinen towards goal. He slots it past Charlie. Rough night for Charlie, getting put in some really tough spots there. You would have to come up with a Stuver-esque save in that moment with only Jääskeläinen there bearing down on you. 2-1. You do get Jimmy in for Vlad Denchutu after the goal, but again, you get scored on by this team. It's just the uphill climb going down a goal that is there against any team just feels so much tougher against St. Louis.
Yeah, you try to claw your way back in, you get to 1-1, and then you give up a tough goal here like this. And this is what this team's been doing all year long in St. Louis City, too. They've just been really great.
So 65th minute here, Jorge takes some contact in the offensive third. He goes down. No call made, and he is very demonstrative here towards Elfath. Even from the broadcast camera, which is pretty far away, right, with this wide angle, you can see the body language change from Elfath when Jorge yells at him, and then he gives him one of these. When you gesture right towards the official, Elfath trots over. Like I said, you saw the body language change, gives him the yellow, and I think rightfully so here, man. It was just a little bit, especially without the armband on, a little bit much there. So if you were intending to get a yellow, good job.
Yeah, I mean, and especially with Elfath, man, he's not going to tolerate that stuff.
Yeah, especially at this level, right? 68th minute, 3 minutes later, you have Austin in possession searching for another equalizer here, and Alice Dway does find Jimmy near the top left corner of the box. Double team comes to Jimmy, and Farkland pings it right back in the direction of Alice Dway. It's not an accurate pass, and Jorge kind of overextends, chasing it here while he lunges to meet this St. Louis player at the ball. St. Louis guy gets there first, clips him, and it's right in front of Elfath, who does not hesitate to send Jorge off right away. And I can't argue, man. It's a yellow card foul. You just pissed him off, and he's right there, man. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, man, and it's that is a mistake that, fair or not, from me watching this team all year, I'm holding number 10 to a higher standard because that's how you have taken on that role. Whether or not you have the armband on Friday night, you are the emotional leader of this team out there on the pitch. At least that's how I think most fans who are tuned into this team would agree with me that he is the guy. Yeah. And that's when, deflating there, having the Friday night stretch session, the Piriformis lab.
I mean, we've given Grogan, rightfully so, a bunch of flack for hurting his team, and this is what Jorge does here. Same exact thing. I'm looking at the red cards right now. Austin's in second place with 5 this season, and that's just a hole you're putting yourself in. And you're playing a team like St. Louis City too, man. This is you can't do this. You can't do this to your team. Can't.
Yeah. Well, 72nd minute, you do get Peter Grogan in there for Micah. So I was glad to see him go out there and get some run, even while we're down a man here. 5 minutes after that, 77th, Silly, who was the guy, and I may be mispronouncing this here, but it's the kid who picked up the yellow in the first half. He clatters into Adrian Gonzalez, and Elfath here again does not hesitate to toss him. All of a sudden, we're on level footing here, 10 on 10, and feeling much better about the prospects of potentially scoring a second goal. And we do make the final changes here. Chris Avila and Daniel Chesla come in for Irvin Torres and Ruben Bonachera in the 85th. We get 5 minutes of stoppage given, but in the whole half, man, and right, you only spent about 10 minutes down a man. You're only able to manage 3 shots with 1 on target the entire second half.
Yeah.
Again, I think this game is just more evidence that St. Louis City 2 is clearly a step above not just Austin FC, but the rest of the Western Conference, I think is fair to say, now that we've seen every team at least once. So you drop points here, 2-1 at home, both teams picking up a red there. So Austin with 2 games left to play after the North Texas SC win. We're lucky that Loons 2 and Ventura County both lost. So we are tied with both of those teams on 38 points, but we are losing the wins and the goal differential tiebreaker. So we are in 9th with 2 to play. Portland Timbers at home coming up this Friday. We'll preview that match on Thursday's episode. But this is, I can do it now, Lever. You have to win this one with second place the town on the road on decision day. You got to get 3 at home this Friday.
You might need 3 out of both of these, honestly. So got to start with the first one here. Going to have to get this done. You said Friday, huh?
Yeah, Friday. I don't know if we could do. I know we got a little concert, I think, on Friday. We'll have to check the schedule, but we'll see what we do on Friday. Anything else for you on this one? Obviously, we'll dive into the schedules of those teams we're competing with, jostling for position with before Thursday.
No, tough one. We knew it was going to be a tough one.
The best keeper in the world.
We're back checking in on Damian Loss and our buddy Turbo Trevor back with the resident Louisville City update. Damian played the full 90 in a 3-1 victory over 10-man Las Vegas Lights. Louisville City rotated 5 players from last week's win as they start their preparations for the playoffs. Rotation did not matter. 27 shots to 3 in favor of Louisville City. All 3 of Vegas's shots were on target. They did score 1 goal. So for Damian, the first shot on target, easy save, easy catch on an effort from outside the box in the 16th minute. Vegas's red card came in the 31st, where a Louisville City player knocked down a Vegas player in a fair challenge. And while the Vegas player was on the ground, his studs hit the face of the Louisville City player. So might not have totally been on purpose, says Trevor, but looked bad enough to get run. Vegas got a goal in the 39th, down a man. Well-taken header from across, on a cross from deep. Trevor says he didn't think Damian had much of a chance here. The center backs let him down by giving a lot of space to the goal scorer. Second save for Damian, 78th minute. Another fairly easy stop on a bouncing shot from outside the box. Overall, incredibly little to do against Vegas, as this match was not even as close as the scoreline suggested, and the Las Vegas keeper played a good game. Louisville City now leads the Supporter Shield standings in USL by 6 points with 5 matches left to play. Damian currently in first for the Golden Gloves, which is decided by goals conceded per match. Louisville City has lost 5 times at home in all comps over the last 2 years. That includes 1 to Minnesota United, 2 to Eintracht Frankfurt, and 2 to Rhode Island FC. We remember that all too well last year. A little disappointment there. So 5 matches to play, in first again. Shout out to Damian. Keep it up, man.
God, what a program they're running over there, man. That's an awesome stat you just pulled up. That's great.
Well, credit to Trevor. So that we will leave Damian in the rear view and close out this episode with the nonsense. Best ball scoring is in. Going to calculate those here. We'll have them posted by Tuesday morning, hoping we can hang on with We Are Austin TV at the top, because we know there was a lot of big scores this last week.
Yeah.
I know we didn't have many of them outside of Evander, so we'll see how things shake out. But we know how things shook out on the betting side of things, E. Unfortunate that Osman does not get the start last night, or else it would have been an even bigger week for us. But Benteke comes through. Mikovic comes through, as he tends to do for us here on Underdog. So you add 2.08 units on Underdog with the 2-for-2 entry there. So you're plus 23.18 units on the season at Underdog. And then at the books, E, I need like a shot collar. If like I ever have to write 2 paragraphs about why we're taking a pick, or maybe just program the collar to, like, if I try to bet on John Polskamp, little shock, like, no, don't do it. That was stupid. I mean, they got scored on 30 seconds in. And I was like, well, that was stupid. But since he comes through, the Austin and Seattle over comes through in the 96th minute. And once again, the goal scorers carry us. You get goals from Benteke, from Hani Mukhtar, from Brenner, from Mirtu Azuni. Overall, plus 6 units at the books. That is plus 57.63 units at the books on the season, E. For the first time this season, we have crested the 80-unit mark on the season with about a month to go. Let's keep it up.
Let's keep it up, baby. Cooking.
All right. Anything else for you before we shut it down?
Oh, no. Nothing witty or funny.
All right. You exhausted the coffers today?
Yeah, come on. See you later, buttholes.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you tuning in, sticking with us here on episode 258 of the North End Podcast. We will be back on Thursday previewing Austin FC's trip out to Salt Lake to take on RSL, previewing the second team's huge home finale against Timbers 2, and talking about everything else that happens in the Austin FC universe. Between now and then, enjoy the beginning of your week, everybody. We will do the same. We'll see you back here on Thursday for another episode. Until then, Heezy. And I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Victory song.
Welcome to the North End where the passion's running high. We're here to talk football, Austin FC, all pride. ZG and E will take you on this ride. Week by week, side by side. It's action 1, 2, 3. We're the rowdiest in town. The Pirates, Game, and Uncle Dave, and Big Fudge all around. We sing our songs, we chant as one. Through thick and thin, the match day's just begun. In the North End, we stand together. Through every game, through any weather. From the first whistle to the final blow, the North End will never let go. In the lights of Q2, our home, our sacred ground. In green and black, we fight, our voices loud and proud. Trio sees magic, Bakari speed, Stuva saving grace. With every goal we score, the lights turn Verde, it's our place. So knows the mastermind, building our dream. Dan rules everything around me, as he strengthens our team. Let Rodo cook, he's got the perfect recipe.